we are so excited to have our friend Lisa Parish from Team PMP, which stands for Peter Mayer Productions. She is going to be joining us to talk all things the Nationals today. But let me give you a little background on her if you don't know her. A lot of people know her, but if you don't know her, let me tell you a little bit about her. Her official title, I love this, is Chief Creative Chick at Team PMP. Lisa, for 13 years, has been producing industry events all across the country. What I love the most about her is that she is extremely passionate. If you've ever had a chance to talk to her, you know this, about inspiring and mentoring others in the home building industry.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to producing amazing events, she has given back to the new home community by serving on several, boards, sales and marketing boards, and she currently serves as the administrator and manager of NAHB's Nationals, PCBC's Gold Nugget Awards, and 14 other regional and local events. And she's an actual award winner herself. Didn't know this until today. She's been honored with the B.J. Stewart Women's Achievement Award and the Max C. Tipton Memorial Award for Marketing Excellence. So, wow. I mean, just wow. So let's give a big opt-in welcome
and if
to
you
our
know
friend.
and love Lisa, chat it out too. Smash the heart button. I think, beyond just the Nationals, which we're talking about here today, she's putting on amazing events all over the country. And Lisa, you do such a great job. I think we should just have you. Can you do our summit? Can we just work that out later?
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll figure that out.
And by the way, it's not 13 years, it's 33 years. Although I feel like it's been
did I say 13?
33 years. Yes. She started when she was 2.5 as a toddler, ladies and gentlemen.
I did.
Yeah.
It's been a long road, but it's been fun.
Well, we are so excited to have you talk on our episode today, all things the Nationals, which are coming up. But I want to zoom out because not everybody knows, what are the Nationals? What are they talking about? So if you could just take a minute and kind of give us a, description on what are we even talking about? What are the Nationals?
Well, the Nationals is NAHB's most prestigious awards program, and it's presented by the National Sales and Marketing Council, and it honors everything from online professionals, sales professionals, to marketing, sales marketing, design, and communities. I always like to say there's a person, a place, or a space that's worthy of recognition, and that's what the Nationals covers.
I love that. So you mentioned types of categories. So if you are in the home building industry, there's pretty much a category for you, right?
Absolutely.
So we've got marketing, online sales specifically, which was so exciting that, you even added rookie online sales specialist, online sales team of the year, which, back in the day, we didn't have that, but now we're seeing more teams. So you have teams, and then you have, of course, the online sales counselor of the year. So exciting. And then, we've seen in the past couple of years that we actually have online sales managers. And, there's not a specific category for an online sales manager, but if you're an online sales manager, can you apply?
Absolutely. So, it's always an evolution of our industry. That's what we've seen. And that's where the online sales counselors came from. They came from the sales professional category. So for this year, what we're doing is we're encouraging those online sales managers to submit in our sales manager category. And I am sure that what's going to happen is we're going to have enough entries that we're going to evolve into a new category, a new recognition that goes along and is responsive to what's happening in our industry and our markets.
That makes me so excited because we are continuing to see online sales really just evolve. And it's such an important part of what we do in sales and marketing for sure. Now, I remember when 2015, I think, when my company came to me and said, we want you to submit for the Nationals. And then immediately I thought, oh gosh, I don't have a chance. This seems like such a big deal. Why even submit? So why, I want to hear from you. Why is it important to apply? Why should you go for it?
First off, that's great that they came to you and asked you to submit, because that
Yeah.
means that they had incredible confidence in you and what you were doing, and they wanted to give you the opportunity to speak for yourself. So there's multiple ways that people submit into the nationals. I always like to say either someone submits you and they write something about you. There is the self-nomination where you submit yourself and you write the nomination. And then there's the way that your journey took, which is someone came to you and said, I want you to write this, although I'm going to then encourage you, and I'm going to lend credibility to it. The path and the idea of submitting an entry is a wonderful thing. One, when they did that, you felt valued, you felt recognized, you felt seen. And so I always like to say that's a beautiful thing to do to someone working for you, because it just gives them that feeling of worth. The other thing is it's a really great opportunity to journal and to almost make a time capsule of what you did for a year. Okay. And if you go back and read that, Jen.
So true. That is so true.
And you forget because we're all so busy doing what we do every day that you forget all the things that you accomplished in that year. And when you sit down and start writing it down to share it with someone else, you'll be surprised not only by what you did, but also when you hand it to that person. Maybe I always like to say, hand it to your boss or hand it to your mentor or hand it to someone else and say, hey, can you read this and make sure I hit everything? Inevitably, they'll come back and they'll say, well, you forgot you did this. And you led this meeting and you took on this other program and you did this, you forgot about 5 things that you did. And you just sit there and you take a moment and you go, you know what, I did. And so you have that as that time capsule. And then when you turn it in, it's wonderful. So I look at it as a nice way to measure what you did for the year and a capsule.
Well, I thank you for clarifying that, because that is something I think you kind of wonder, like, okay, I want to submit this, but like, do I do it myself or does somebody do it for me? So, I just want to recap what you said. I think the first thing that I just want to just share with everybody is, if this is something that you want to do, which of course we think you should, definitely go and talk to your leadership about it first. Like, hey, this is something I really would like to do. So that's important. Make sure you get that permission, make sure you get that communication. But like you said, it could be that your leadership submits on your behalf, or you submit on your behalf, or you kind of do part of the entry statement. And you'll see this when we talk about what the entry form looks like, but you kind of write from your perspective. So you can do it a multitude of different ways. There's not like one way that is the right way or the wrong way to do it.
No.
So thank you. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So definitely talk to your leadership first. What impact do you think, if you're sitting there like, should I do this? Should I not? What impact do you think that, even going through this process, but actually winning does for your career? Like, how do you think that this impacts somebody?
Well, I'll turn that right back around on you, my friend, because you were a silver award winner, and then you went on to win. You didn't win the first year. You came back and you won again.
I know, and I was really mad.
Tell me, in our industry, do you know of many type A competitive human beings?
Yes, exactly. So we're going to talk about that in a second, because I think, there's sometimes when the first year that, somebody applies and maybe they don't win, they don't get silver, or maybe they get silver and then they don't win gold and they get kind of discouraged. Should you keep applying? Should you try again? Are you looked at differently if, oh, she's already applied or she's already won something in the past?
Sure. So that here's first thing I want to say. The Nationals is the most competitive, obviously. But I will tell you this, to win a silver award or to be recognized with a silver award, it's like being nominated for an Academy Award. It's the same thing. You're the top 5 in the entire nation. So that is a feat in itself.
Huge.
Now, huge. And then to rise to become the gold, obviously, is the pinnacle. And I will always say, if I put that same category we have different judges every year, and it's made up of professionals who have entered and have won either locally or nationally previously. So they've been an entrant. They've been in those people's shoes. They have that compassion and that understanding of the entry process. So when those folks read that, if I gave that same category to the next year's judges, you could have an entirely different outcome, because
that's a good point.
Year.
That's a good
but
point.
That is also the reason why you keep coming back. Do you get up every morning and go back to work? Yes, of course. You know, it's
Absolutely.
the journey. It's the journey.
Absolutely.
And I will say that I think it's just really one of those beautiful things of our human nature, is to compete and to be recognized. So go for it. Don't be scared. We've had folks who work for tiny little builders in Las Cruces, New Mexico, or big builders in Atlanta, Georgia, who've been recognized. And it's really not about the number. It's not about necessarily just one thing. It's the whole process. It's what you bring to the table. It's what you bring to your company. It's what you bring to your buyers. And it's how you achieve it and your attitude that really shine through.
Thank you for saying that, because here's some things I've heard over the years. I don't have the numbers to be able to win.
No.
Okay.
It's not a numbers game.
You heard it straight from Lisa's mouth. It is not about the numbers. It's really about the passion that you bring, and the story that you tell, and the challenges that you've experienced, and how you've overcome those things. And it's not just about your numbers. So just remember that when you go to apply. So I want to go back to you turned that question back on me, and you said, what impact did it have on my career? First and foremost, I will say, speaking about online sales, when you win an award and you're recognized in this way, which is a huge, huge deal, it sheds a different light on you and your organization. A lot of online sales specialists specifically sometimes struggle. Definitely, I mean, we've come a long way since I was in the seat and won this award, but struggle sometimes with, like being kind of like, yeah, it's that person over there that, sets appointments for me, and, I don't always see them. And, sometimes feeling like our sales teams and people don't know exactly what we do. And when you are honored in this way, it's like, whoa, hey, maybe they really know what they're talking about. They just won a national award for online sales. Holy cow, I better listen to them. I better do what they tell me to do. So first and foremost, it does elevate your game within your organization, and shows the value that you bring to the company first and foremost. So, also it's just, speaking for me personally, since you asked, it really was able to, just shed a light on online sales specifically for me in the industry. I've met so many people along the way, just being a part of the Nationals, program and organization. So it was amazing. It was an amazing moment for me to be able to do that.
It expands your relationships.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
People will reach out and ask questions. You're now known. You probably have best practices that people want,
exactly,
that you can share. So
helping other people.
Our industry is a big industry, but at the same time, it's a very small industry.
Yeah. Well, anytime that you can give back and mentor and help other people, it's really special. So that's awesome. Okay, switching gears a little bit, let's talk about some logistics as far as applying. So when are you accepting entries? Now? When does it start? Like, where do they go? Let's talk some of those logistics.
For sure. So call for entries are open now. thenationals.com is our website. You can go there and go through and see the entry process, all the categories, requirements. It is a two-step process. Okay, the first step is it's actually a multi-step process. First thing you want to do is you're going to want to go through and review all of the categories and determine which ones make the best fit for you, whether it's your online sales counselor, whether it's your team, whether it's sales management, whether it's digital marketing or internet marketing. any of those opportunities in which you want to submit. And then what you're going to want to do is submit your entry application and pay your fees. What that does is that unlocks your entry number. And you, the deadline to submit your entry application and your fees is October the 7th.
Okay.
Now your materials, you can submit them by October 7th. That you can turn them in and be done, and we'll check them and everything will be good. But you have all the way up to October 24th to submit your final materials, your nomination packages, your images, and so forth.
Okay.
I always like to say, do not wait. Turning in your homework, doing your taxes, any of those things will only lead to stress and pressure. And you don't do your best work when you're stressed out, right? We all know that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I will also say, if you take advantage of doing it and turning it early, it allows us to preview it and make sure that we have everything that we need in case for some reason something's missing or if we have a question. Okay. I'll also tell you when you're submitting your entry, it's like you said earlier, write that entry or have your entry written and submit it to someone you trust, a mentor, someone that you feel knows you, to read it, who can then give you that input back and say, hey, listen, you missed the fact that you did this or that. And, or you didn't mention that, you overcame this obstacle this year. 3 things I always like to tell people to share with the judges. Share with them your biggest success, your biggest challenge, and what you're most proud of. And here's why.
Love that.
That really makes them understand who you are more than just the sum of your accomplishments for the year.
Yes. I love that. That was going to be the next thing I was going to ask you is, just insider tip, because you look at the application process and it might seem a little like overwhelming, but it's really not. It's really going to take you, the max amount of time is probably a couple of hours of focused, dedicated time to get through this. So I don't want you looking at that freaking out like, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. It actually is you just have to sit down and focus on it. But you heard from Lisa some insider tips on that. Biggest challenge, biggest success, what you're most proud of, let your passion for your role come through, or your marketing piece that you're submitting, or you being a manager, like what really gets you excited, and let that come through in your application. Now, do you have to be a member of NAHB to apply? That's a question that I've gotten before. Okay.
Yeah, you do not need to be a member of NAHB. However, if you are a member, there are price discounts. There are 3 levels of pricing for entry fees. If you are a non-member, it's one price, it's $350. If you are an NAHB member but not a council member, it's $325. And if you're a member of the National Sales and Marketing Council, it's $300. Now, to find out if you're a member of the National Sales and Marketing Council, here's the rules. If you're normally a member of your local Sales and Marketing Council, then you're a member of NSMC. If you have any questions or if you're concerned, just send me an email and I will look it up for you.
Okay. And guys, as you're watching this, feel free to ask any questions while we have Lisa on here. She will answer questions. We'll stay on, and if you have those. So don't have to be a member. Hi, Jesse. Don't have to be a member. So one thing you said too is you have to do your entry fee first, and then you have some time to get all of your materials in.
Exactly.
Okay. Anything else we should know? Anything else that you can think of that anybody should think about as they're submitting?
Always know, and a reminder is, know your audience of who you're writing to. You're writing to the judges, and they are your colleagues, your peers, your industry mates, like I said before, who've entered and judged or who have received awards as well. So write in familiar or in conversational terms so that they can digest it easily. Don't get down into the dirty, deep details. Give them maybe a 30,000 foot view rather than not a macro, not a micro, but somewhere in the middle view of what you've done, so that they don't have to, digest too much. But share your story. Be honest, be vulnerable, that always helps as well.
So, just some oh, here Jessica has a question here. How do you decide if you should submit for a team or for yourself? I'm having a hard time determining which category would be best. Any recommendations?
I'm going to give you a great answer. You can do both.
Ooh.
You can do both. You can take it both ways. You never know, because you're going to have different judges for each one of those categories, and that way you can possibly have double recognition. Sometimes the strength is in either place, and so if you had to pick one, I would sit there and really take a deep look and say, where do you feel like you were the strongest if you had to pick one or the other?
Okay, I like that answer. I want to zoom out real quick. Something that I meant to ask you kind of at the beginning. I just want to clarify some things for people. How many submissions on average do you get, like, when all is said and done? How many submissions? And then how does it go from there? Like, because then you have silver and then you have gold. So if you could just kind of explain that.
Sure. So in the overall, all of the nationals in the 65 categories will get anywhere between 800 and 1,000 entries.
Okay.
Now, in the professionalism categories, which we're talking about here, you can have anywhere from 10 to 25 entries in a category. It sometimes can be
per category.
Per category. And so you're not talking about there's not 100 entries in online sales counselor, so just qualify it down. Now, in website, we might have 80 entries, but in online sales counselors and sales professionalism, we're usually talking, like I said, anywhere between 10, 20. I think the most we've had in sales team is like 30 entries.
Okay.
And that's on-site sales team.
Right.
So you have, it's not as deep of a competition pool as you think it is.
Hey, let's just pause for a second. Guys, did you hear what she said?
Yeah.
Online sales, freaking submit. Like, this is awesome. You have a really, really good chance of winning an award.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I will also share with you, I've seen over the past, as it's grown from 2014, 15, all the way to now, I've seen where folks online on the builder websites, it even says, speak to our award-winning online sales counselor.
Ooh.
Okay, so when that buyer sees that, or someone who's searching, and they see that you're an award-winning salesperson, what they feel is a sense of confidence. They're like, ooh, I wonder why. So that might be something that they might ask you a question about, or start a conversation. So don't be afraid to toot your own horn or ask your builder if they want to use that as a marketing opportunity. But going back to your first question, it's not as deep a pool as you think it is. It's very achievable. Also know that we're getting people from all across the country. So everybody has a different market, a different challenge, a different opportunity. They work for little tiny builders to medium builders to big publics. So we're not competing against each other. What we're doing is we are looking at that person based on what they were trying to do, for what their position was for their builder and their clients and their customers.
Okay. Steven says, in the video category, I noticed it was project community specific. What if we have a company video, not necessarily a project specific video?
Absolutely. So those sometimes get broken up in those video categories. Matter of fact, we have a 30-second short video and a long video. The judges can compartmentalize or subdivide based on those on the opportunities. It's just every year is different on what comes in the door. So we try to find as much recognition as possible for great work.
Okay, awesome. One question I had, so you get down to, you have your submissions, and then you get down to your silver award winners. And then the silver award winners are announced, right?
So,
and then
let me go back on that. So here's what happens. Let's say it's October the 24th, and we get all of our entries come in the door, and we get everything prepared for our judges. And then what we do is we take all those entry materials, and we have specific teams who judge the categories.
Okay.
Those teams for the professional categories, they're given that material for 2 weeks prior to us convening on site.
Gotcha.
So they have your materials, they read through everything, they make their notes, and then they come and we sit down in a room together and they go through and they talk about every single entry. And they determine, okay, what did you think about Jen? What did you think she did? Well, let's make notes on her. Okay, what do we think about Lisa? Okay, let's go through her materials. Let's talk about Mary.
Gotcha.
And at the end of the day, they have this long discussion together, but then they vote from their heart. They don't know how they're voting. They fill out their ballot and they turn it in.
Gotcha.
Once we get that, we then score it up and then we come back to them and say, okay, here's our top 5. Here are our silvers. And they say, okay, those are our top 5. They might say at that point, they might go, wait, hold on. You know what? We really need Michael. We need that 6th silver because he's fantastic and we don't want him not to be recognized. So that there is a play. It's not always just 5. It can go 6 or 7 deep, depending on what they see in the category. From those 5, they will then determine who the gold winner is.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks for explaining that. I don't know why I never asked you that. I always just kind of wondered how that, so it really is a collaborative approach to judging. So
absolutely. They don't just read this blindly and score into some crazy, thing and not have a conversation about the why, the what, the how.
I love that. That's why it's so important to really speak to as if you're talking to the judges as you're doing your entry.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else? Well, I've got some fun questions as we kind of wrap up. Again, we're gonna put some information together for you after this, so you have the links and everything to that. Mike, do you have any questions?
Oh yes, I have something. You guys didn't know this was coming, but I'm presenting to you, Lisa, an award from Do You Convert?
Okay.
You give out awards all the time, and you run awards program. I'm telling you where it's coming. I'm going to call it I guess we'll call it the Cat's Pajamas Awards for you. I get to work with Lisa in a lot of different areas at the NAHB level, committee level. How she is right now on this live is how she is on the committees, is how she is in person. You are one of the most professional people out there. You always bring such great energy. We were getting into a kerfuffle on a committee the other day, and she goes, hey, this is all about positivity. And we're going to keep this positive. She does such a good job. So you get the Cat's Pajamas Award in the form of a cowbell. Here you go. But we really do. We just love what you do for our industry. And thank you for all the work that you do behind the scenes that people don't get to see. So I just wanted to jump. I was thinking about that watching you guys off screen. I was just like, she's so great. Shane, you're great too if you're there listening.
He's waving.
He's also the man, the myth, the legend. But you guys do such phenomenal work. So thank you for everything that you do.
Absolutely.
For our industry. I'm interested. What are these questions, Jen, that you have? Does she know that these were coming?
No, she doesn't know. Okay. What's your favorite thing about your job, Lisa? About what you do?
It's so fun. Somebody said this to me last week because we tour and we judge all around the country, 18 different awards programs. And our favorite thing is we love to walk product and see all the neat, great communities that we to visit. But we also love to meet all the incredible people in our industry because it reinstills our faith that we are filled with just the most incredible, talented people. And when you have a chance to meet with them, it just makes your heart happy.
I love that so much. Okay, this is a hard one.
Okay.
If you could go back in time to when you first just started out in the new home industry, what advice would you give yourself?
Well, it's something my dad instilled in us, and I share this all the time with my kids, and I'll share this with everybody else. And I'm literally, I want to write it on my arm. His motto was, nothing is ever as bad as it seems. And in the moment when something's happening, we all think the world's ending and it's a crisis, and especially, during turmoil. But just stop down for a second and think to yourself, is this really as bad as it seems? And then the other thing he always used to say is, you got to believe. And that's just it. You just got to keep going, because think something that you're worried about today, I promise you, if you think about where you were 1 year ago, and you think about what you were worried about, it probably isn't even on your radar anymore. So just try to keep perspective.
Yeah. Man, if you guys have stayed on to the end of this, you just got some major motivational words of wisdom from Lisa. Okay, something fun. What are you currently watching on Netflix, or are you more of a book person? Like favorite show, recent thing that you've seen? I'm always looking for new TV content.
Amen. Anybody who knows us and has spent any time with us knows that Shane and I are absolute junkies for TV and podcasts and movies. So I'll share with you my 3 favorite things of the summer. Number 1, if you haven't gone to the movies, go see Top Gun, because
it's delightful.
Get that ride. Okay?
So good.
That'll inspire you. That'll encourage you, and that's a whole lot of fun. If you're watching TV, we just started Severance on Apple TV. You want to talk about crazy, weird work-life balance? Okay, try that one. And if you're not listening to, check out Smartless on podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
That's Will Arnett, Jason Bateman, and Sean Hayes. And I'll tell you, the one episode that I really loved is where they talked to Michael Lewis, who wrote Moneyball and sorry, I just forgot the other movie, The Big Short.
Yes.
The reason I don't remember The Big Short is because I have PTSD and I don't want to think about that. So, but check those out.
That's awesome.
Hey, I want to tell you guys, we just finished last night on Netflix. I think it's called Untold. But the one we watched was the Manti Te'o story where he got catfished. You know, his girlfriend died.
Yeah.
He was like a Heisman Trophy, Notre Dame linebacker. Anyway.
Crazy.
I didn't remember that. I remember it, but I didn't remember it because it was like 10 whatever years ago. I was like, oh, that's nuts. Anyway, that's a little fun one for you.
Fantastic.
Okay, last question. Again, this is related to the Nationals. If somebody watching this or goes to the website and they need additional help, is there any resources or additional help that they can get?
Ooh.
Or where do they go? Where do they go for help?
Absolutely. So, number 1, our contact information is there. Lisa at thenationals.com. Our 800 number is there. We are 100% at all times available to you for any questions. And if you need a sample entry from another entry competition, we will send it to you to get you a track to run on. Ooh. And I will also be starting office hours in probably another week or so. Friday mornings, I will have office hours where you can contact us and I will be online and you can come on and ask any questions that you may have regarding entries, process, all kinds of goodies and details. So that's going to be coming on thenationals.com very shortly here so that you can get your questions answered.
Always giving back. That's why we love you. Always giving back. Well, thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Mike. Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of Online People Talking. For all the latest information, tips, tricks, blogs, marketing, online sales, go to doyouconvert.com. It is all there for you. We have tons of resources. And we will see you next time.
Yes, and
at the Nationals.
If you enjoyed Lisa on this, leave a comment whether you're watching now or in the future, and tell you thank you for her work. She is the 2022 Cat's Pajamas Award winner. So thank you, Lisa.
Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Jen, for everything that you guys do in creating and advancing professionalism on our industry. That's what it's all about.
Thanks, guys.